session explores the driving forces behind transformation, innovation, strategic success, and sustainable growth. From cutting-edge ideas to ground-level impact, we'll hear from leaders who have turned vision into velocity, blending creativity with purpose to reimagine possibilities. Whether you are steering a startup or scaling a legacy, this is your space to connect, reflect, and fuel a journey forward. I now request the panelists for this session to kindly come up onto the stage. We have Mr. G. Levin, Chief Executive Officer of Kerala Space Park, KSPACE, as the session chair. We have with us Colonel Sanjeev Nair, Chief Executive Officer, Technopark, Trivandrum. Mr. Vimal Govind V.K, CEO and Director, Genrobotics Innovations Private Limited. And Mr. Lloyd Jacob Lopez, Director, Hex20 Labs India Private Limited and co-founder and CCO of Hex20 Private Limited. We have Mr. Levin, sir, as session chair. He's a stalwart of India's space journey with 38 years at the Vikram Sarabhai Space Center, a key arm of ISRO. As Deputy Director of the Solid Propulsion and Research Entity, he played a pivotal role in the propulsion system for PSLV, GSLV, MK3 and SSLV. He has his expertise in non-destructive testing, composites, ablatives and propellants. Post-retirement, his journey of innovation continued as the founding project director of Kerala Space Park, KSPACE, a pioneering electronics and IT department of the government of Kerala, incorporated as an independent organization.
Good evening, one and all. The organizing team of TRIMA 2025 and the functionaries of Trivandrum Management Association, both past and present, dear delegates, guests, and my fellow panelists. Afternoon, while I was just getting inside, I think our team was congratulating the ISRO team for yesterday's successful launch of GSLV F-16 and ISR mission. I also joined the excellent achievement by the ISRO community, because I have to do it basically because many of my colleagues and friends, past and present in ISRO, are here to witness. While saying so, I am almost 5 years older since my superannuation from ISRO. After taking up the current responsibility and reading something on economics and industrial promotion and what is happening in the international scenario, I find that we have to bring in certain disruptive changes in our systems and processes to survive for the emerging scenario. That is true when you consider the emerging technological disruptions happening across the table in various domains, as was discussed yesterday evening here in the panel. We all have to be equipped for that sort of a challenging scenario, and ISRO is no exception for that. That is the order of the day. Coming to today's discussion, it is all about innovation, success, and growth. I will just introduce the topic to my panelists. We all take pride in telling that India is the fourth largest economy in the world. It is true. Definitely, we are the fourth, and within striking distance of Germany to attain the third position. But if you go further up in the rank, we are almost 1/3 of the Chinese economy or 1/7 of the US economy. This is a fact. We being a 100 billion, 140 billion or 140 crore of population and most populistic country in the world, we have the right to be the number one in ranking as far as the economic potential is concerned. There is a long way to go. How you progress further beyond now? So far, we have been followers of our technologies. Until very recently, we are right now bringing a change. Many areas we are becoming the leaders. I think we have to become leaders in most of the areas if you want to attain the number one position in the economic size. Now, there is one more parameter to be assessed is regarding the per capita income. How much dollars per individual in the country is able to earn, we are at a much lower number. Telling about the quality of life and living standards, etc. of our citizens. We have a consoling another parameter, the purchasing power parity ranking. That is where we are at number 5. Definitely, it is a great achievement, mainly because of the indigenous creation or production of essential commodities within the country. I will go to the last interesting comparison, the number of IPs getting created within the country. If you take the reference 2023-24, we have created almost 30,000 IPs. Compared to the US contribution was around 3.23 lakhs and China is close to 8 lakhs. It is a parameter to assess how much we are doing or spending on the research and development and innovation side. I think there lies the answer. We have to innovate on our manufacturing methods, innovate on our services, we have to innovate on products and many more. And we also have to equip our youngsters to take up the newer emerging trends in the job market. And the entrepreneurship within the youngsters should be cultivated to take the country further forward in our ambition to be the number one ranking in the country, in the world. I have three eminent panelists. Colonel Sanjeev Nair, having a vast experience on the defense segment, and we may have a lot of questions how the warfare is getting innovated by examples what happening before us currently. I have with me Mr. Lloyd, the founder of the H20 satellite startup company. They have really become global by sending the first satellite belonging to for the German firm through the SpaceX mission last year. And they already created history by creating one more major order from the UAE recently. He will have a lot of things to talk on the emerging technological innovations possible there in the space science and technology. I think Vimal is so famous for the entire country in bringing up a change and solution for many of our societal issues through the Genrobotics initiative. I really congratulate him for his great achievement, and these youngsters are going to take the country forward. So let us hear from them how we can visualize the further progress in our innovations aspirations. Thank you. Colonel Sanjeev will talk first on the innovations, possibilities in the defense sector, and what Kerala is doing to take a major part or significant role in the innovation in the defense sector. So let me start with the Colonel Sanjeev.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Levin, the session chair, and my fellow panelists, Vimal and Lloyd. And thanks, TRIMA, for having invited us for this session. So this topic, though I am not an entrepreneur, but I will talk from my background being in the defense. So what sort of activities are happening as far as defense innovations are concerned. So if you look at the, global scenario also, during the, Cold Era period and all, most of the innovations used to start from the military domain itself. So if you look at what we see today, like internet or be it anything like GPS solution or something, it has actually come out from the military sometime in the 1970s and all those times. So that is how it used to happen. But possibly, maybe in the 90s and all, the innovation segment actually started focusing towards the civil domain. And if you look at from the Indian perspective, we have been actually depending upon a lot of imports as far as defense is concerned. So the quantum of indigenization and innovation is a very recent phenomenon. So on that account, in the last 10 to 12 years, we can see there is a lot of focused approach as far as defense innovations is concerned. So there are two primary arms under Ministry of Defense. One is Department of Defense Protection, and the other is DRDO. So under these two verticals, there are two schemes like Innovation for Defense Excellence, that is called IDEX, and the other is Technology Development Fund, which is under DRDO. So there is a concerted effort to bring in that aspect of innovations into armed forces. And, over a period of time, the quantum of imports have started declining. Now it has actually, we are in a state wherein we looking for indigenization of almost 69% of the things that we are having in the armed forces. And in this, there is a tremendous contribution from various segments. So we have got around 16 DPSUs which are there. I think there are more than 500 registered defense-based companies and almost 16,000 SMEs and startups. So together that is actually creating an impact. And when we look at defense innovation, there are three verticals actually which are going to create an impact. The first thing is that it should increase the operational effectiveness of the forces. Second is it should give a strategic advantage. And third is cost effectiveness. And towards that, it is actually creating a lot of buzz. So my stint earlier was there in IDEX also. So that was a place where I used to interact with, on one side there was a bureaucracy because we were part of MOD. On the other side was armed forces where I was already a part of. And the third segment was the startups. And to be very frank, that third segment was the thing which used to give me a kick. Because I joined IDEX after my retirement, and I could see young, passionate youngsters coming out with ideas, want to do something and make a change. So that sort of activity is happening, and almost there are about 400 contracts which have been signed under IDEX scheme. So that itself shows that, that there is a big trend. So statistics, what Mr. Levin was mentioning, it is there. But I strongly feel that if you have got an intent and an attitude and a discipline, across the country, there is going to be a change. So that is my take.
Say, you have been on the robotics and automation. You have been very successful also in this domain. What are going to be the futuristic applications in the robotics and automation? And how prepared are we as a country and as a state to take up those challenges? You can first tell about your story yourself.
Hi everyone, myself Vimal. I'm co-founder of Genrobotics Innovations. So we are a company first introduced a robotic device called Bandicoot Robot. This is a very noble initiative with collaboration of passion and helping people, and also a kind of a business. Along with all this aspect, we merged, and that's how Genrobotics created the world's first robotics scavenger. It's a particular robot which we created for helping people not to enter into manholes or confined spaces for cleaning activity for the society. So that was the robot does. With that we created many devices, many robotic solutions in that particular segment. We started from Kerala in 2017, and now we are there in 19 states and 3 UTs in India, and across 4 other countries also. We are exporting our solutions to other countries as well. This is one of our vertical, and the confined space management is not just a problem statement in sanitation, it's also a problem statement in oil and gas sector as well. So we merged into that sector also by shifting all our robotic devices with the capability to handle oil and gas sector as well. So these are the 2 major verticals that we are creating revenue currently. And during the COVID time, we also bootstrapped and diversified into medical. We have now medical robots also, which is under Genrobotics Medical, which is again helping the people with the disability. So we work in very collaboratively with the physical medicine rehabilitation. So people with Parkinson's disease, people with cerebral palsy, and again spinal cord injury, stroke. Then with these conditions, they'll get temporary disability. So in order to rehabilitate them efficiently, we have this robotic platform called G-Gator, and we are building a lot of solutions in this physical medicine rehabilitation domain as well. So this is what we are doing currently, where we are creating revenue from different part of India and throughout the world also. But again, into the future, we think you already seen the revolution of AI in a different form. When LLM comes, large language models is already there, and it is creating impact where it is giving human-like communication. And now I'm not using much Google, mostly using ChatGPT and other kind of domain in order to get information to me for different type of activities. So this is the major shift which has happened, where informations are there very actively in the internet, which has been precisely drafted for your need in a very understanding and perspectful form. So that's what happened in the AI. AI, with this kind of a capability, there are a lot of application comes in AI. But largely, this AI is very much limited to computer systems and mobile phone. So shifting and the using or bringing the power of the AI into the physical world that's what robotics is actually going to do, the next phase. So already the world is recognized it, US and China is investing a lot into humanoid robotics. Many billion-dollar companies already in the market, already in US and China. India didn't even, created one in that space. We are trying to be that one in the space by creating a humanoid robot. So our R&D is fully, focused in this particular endeavor. We already created a semi-humanoid form, which is, the upper half is almost human and it is having capability to lift around 100 kg payload with a single arm. Sanjeev sir has already seen this, and this particular technology is already have a lot of potential in defense, disaster management, even in MSME, other fabrication verticals. So immediately shifting, because most of the time our strategy is that, India has been a very, a particular type of a market till now also, not too much investment into innovation or IPs also. Even recently it is shifted. China and US is actually able to do this because there are a lot of investors who is investing into these domains. So being in India, we have to adapt to this country strategy. The country strategy is that, you invest into an R&D with a minimal capability and build product out of it. That's what we have done in sanitation and medical also. And similar kind of strategy we are using in the robotics, humanoid, creation also. So we build a semi-humanoid. It's comparatively easy to crack than the bipedal walking. So we build this system and trying to use it for multiple applications. So we are trying to work with Amazon for logistic management in this sector. We are working with the defense and other IDEX. We are looking into that platform also to enter into defense as well. And in defense also, bomb diffusing, figuring out, the advantage of robotics is that you don't need to risk human life. Rather than we can send it and that will does better than a human. So that's what we are trying to build. But the ultimatum, obviously, within another 10 years of timeline, every house will have at least one robot as an assistant to do the physical and most of the laborious work. People does not need to do it. And this is where, as an economy, as a civilization, we are going to. And we are trying to be a part of this journey, being in India, with the capability and resources that we are having here.
I think the space segment is undergoing another major disruptive change, mainly after the entry of private entrepreneurs. And India also has opened up the space sector for the private entrepreneurship through the Indian Space Policy 2023. And what you see is almost 250 startups are currently operating in India. And we have one of those success story through the H20. I think I'll request Lloyd to just brief on the achievements and what are the emerging opportunities in the space sector at large, and especially for the startup community.
Hi, thank you. So, my name is Lloyd Jacob Lopez, and I'm CCO and one of the co-founder of X20. So, X20, all of the founders, we are from Trivandrum. We studied in the same school and the engineering college here. So it was after 20 years that we started. So space was getting a lot of attention, and that is when the idea came, and we started this company. So just to talk about the innovation space and other things, it's amazing to see what Vimal is doing and what we were able to achieve. But imagine 30 or 25 years back, if we went home and said, after college you want to start a business, your parents would have not allowed you to do that. Yeah. But that's the opportunity that we get now. Yeah. And even with the first company, my partner, when he was looking for a bride, first issue was, no, he's running a company, so it's a risk. Yeah. So that was the attitude. Yeah. So, like Colonel Sanjeev said, we started changing only recently. Yeah, while others started doing this a long time back. And I think we are few who were, fortunate, or we were lucky to get an opportunity to start a company like what we have. And that again was because of, the opportunities provided by Technopark, yeah, which came, 20, 30 years back. And my first, when I was doing computer science, my project, final year project was done in Technopark. Yeah. So that was just after Technopark was open. So, going forward, within our founders, my classmate, we met, and he was discussing with me about space and his brother who was actively in the domain. And I told, yeah, it's a good opportunity because I can see Elon Musk doing crazy things, rockets going up, coming and landing. So a lot of things happening, and, that space was getting really, nice and shiny and bright, yeah. So at the same time, we all were a few kilometers away from VSSC, where at that time when we were at school, we didn't even know what these people were doing there, okay? We know a lot of VSSC buses running around in the city and, a lot of people going and working there. We didn't know what was happening. But now, when we started Space Tech company, now we realize, the amount of work that has gone into space from India for the last 50, 60 years, and how difficult it would have been at that time to achieve what we have achieved right now. So yesterday there was a successful launch, but when we were in college, most of the rockets used to go to the sea, not, And now things have changed, and India is a global player when it comes to space. So for us, this opportunity, opened up when globally, people were looking at very small satellites to, do experiments or test small instruments that go to space and, do things there. So that is the opportunity that we, looked into, and then we started this company. So when we started the company, India space was not open. So that is the time when I moved to Australia, and then we started the company there in one of the university incubators. But soon, during COVID or end of COVID, things changed in India. So India came up with the policies required for, startups to come into this domain. And as Levin sir said, now there are more than 250 startups who are working in this domain. And when we look at space, a lot of data that ISRO has been collecting for years are now being used for various things, including, developing our own navigation system called NAVI, which is a critical component when it comes to defense use. And we have seen how, satellite communications were, tampered in some of the, conflicts across the globe. And to have that national capability is critical. So with Hex20, what we are trying to do is to work with, other startups who are building small experimental payloads. We work with universities who are developing technologies, and we work with national agencies who wants to build a satellite. So these are the opportunities that we are getting into. So we started with very small projects, building softwares that go into a small satellite, and then slowly started getting traction. And the first project, hardware project came from UAE Space Agency to build a platform that can be used to teach students how to build satellites. So that is where we started building hardware, and that was, done here in Trivandrum. We have worked with multiple suppliers across Trivandrum, Bangalore, Hyderabad. Now we have suppliers from Chennai. So these people were working with ISRO, building, building technology for ISRO. And most of these companies are run by people who have been previously working with ISRO. And the good thing that we saw was the level of experience that they have and the quality at which they can produce something that we can fly with this. So now we have 6 to 7 missions. One we flew, Nila, that was the first satellite. We named it after the building where our office is in Technopark. So, and the river Nila. So that's the first satellite. Now we are building 2 satellites for Taiwan. We are building space for the Earth observation satellite for Coast Guard. We are building a satellite for a company from UK who are building thrusters. And we are really fortunate to work with iSpace, a Japanese company, where we will be deploying a satellite around the moon. So that is going to be in 2028, 2029. And currently, we just signed 2 weeks back a major project with UAE Space Agency to build a small lander that will travel from Earth to the asteroid belt. It will take 7 years. It will go there and land on one of the asteroid called Justina. So all these things are going to be built here from our Trivandrum office. So looking at innovation, we are able to work with a lot of companies who have been doing this, and we are now working with a lot of colleges here, giving internship to students who are interested in this domain. And we have started working, or there are a lot of requests from even schools to support them with STEM programs where we can, help kids start thinking differently. So, like I said in the beginning, most of our parents didn't want us to start a business. So that mentality is changing. And I think we are helping, with this activity, working with colleges and schools to help, youngsters to come up with more good ideas and eventually start their own ventures. Thank you.
Thank you, Lloyd. I think we'll come back to Sanjeev. So we all agree the innovation and support for the innovation that is going to decide the future of the country, and the industries are going to take the lead, and the R&D and academic institutions to support the research and development. Now we have a very excellent startup ecosystem to support the youngsters coming with novel ideas, and how Kerala is actively supporting the startup system, and we are number 1 in the country. I think we have a unique position, and how we are achieved that position, or how we are supporting the ecosystem and motivating the youngsters. And the new initiative of Kerala Defence Innovation Zone, how our collaboration with the armed forces will help to develop new innovations and startup community connected to the defense. So this is the question to Colonel Sanjeev.
Yes, so as Lloyd was mentioning, earlier most of the things were happening in silos. So those cross-functional, handling as well as visibility into various segments were very, very less in earlier years. Now, I think with this digital era, a lot of things have opened up now, and there is a lot of visibility now. So that is making the difference. So I take a lot of pride being part of Technopark when I see, companies within Technopark and startups within Technopark doing exceedingly well. And it is happening because, now we, from the Technopark side also, we don't think it from only a real estate segment. It is actually an ecosystem enabler, because there are various entities within the park itself. Startup Mission is there, companies are there, Space Park is coming up in Technopark, and all those things which are coming up. So this initiative of Kerala Defence Innovation Zone, when I came up to Technopark, So I saw that, the startup mission is, one of the high performing, startup ecosystem that we are having in, across the country. But, the approach towards defense and aerospace challenges were very, very less. So that was my primary observation when I came here. So possibly, that visibility was not there. So initially we started off, having a Defense India Startup Challenge, which is launched by IDEX scheme. So we had an outreach session, which we did it in Technopark, that was in 2023. And the same year in Huddle Global, which is a, annual startup event, in that we had the next edition of IDEX outreach session being conducted there. Subsequently, we had an event in Pangod military station where we took our companies as well as the startups inside the military premises. So that was something like an ice breaking at that point of time. Because soon after that, I could see, challenges coming from the brigade also. They actually interacted with one of, our prominent institutes like Digital University of Kerala. And they worked together and came up with a solution of, a drone-based mine detection system. And they got an award also after that. So the progress has been slow. So after that, we thought, okay, we should tie up with the national level schemes from the state itself. So we started having an MOU with IDEX as well as TDF. So that's how we started with this Kerala Defense Innovation Zone, and it was inaugurated during the last edition of Huddle Global. So now formally that entity has been created. So we are trying to, connect various stakeholders under those schemes. So IDEX and TDF is already connected. We have got a wonderful presence of, the space ecosystem which is there in Trivandrum. So it is connected through Space Park, KSPACE. And similarly, we have got, all the 3 IT parks which are there. We have got, Defense Park which is there in Ottapalam. And there are so many entities, so many industry segments which can actually support the startup also in case they want to go from, after making a prototype to bulk production and all those things. Thirdly, we wanted to connect with, the think tanks across the nation. So we started connecting with the entities like Senjos, Claws, which are like think tanks of defense forces and all. Similarly, we have got an excellent pool of, ex-servicemen which are there in Kerala itself. So this is what I normally tell the startups also and companies also. If you want to venture into defense and aerospace, try to take one ex-serviceman as a consultant. So he or she will give you the, the operational perspective of, how the armed forces work, and you can actually make inroads very fast. So that was one suggestion which I gave to them. And so it has slowly started working now. So I can give you an example of an individual innovator who is in Kerala and is a known face. His name is Jayesh. So, he had got a patent on a twin magazine rifle. But the only thing was that he was not able to make inroads into the defense segment. So though he had a patent in his hand, so there was a requirement to channelize him. So these entities like KDIS can make it happen. And when this ecosystem started functioning, even I had put across a word that, okay, Jayesh, in fact, is a workshop mechanic. So he needed a lot of support, and that's how, I got the support from X20 also. They took him on board. So he's part of X20 now. So that's how the ecosystem starts working. So, the most important aspect is this collaborative approach, and that only actually can, bring in new things, and the innovations can actually work. So that's how the concept of KDIS came up, and I think we are all part of the complete ecosystem, and I'm sure that this is going to create wonders.
One blame what we are all facing is the automation and robotics is going to kill certain jobs. I think that is one critical blame what is likely to be faced by all of you into the robotics and automation. How will you answer that? And one more question I will take from you. Say we have brought out the need to focus on R&D and innovation and creating IPs for the country. How the momentum in IP creation can be developed further? I feel there is a lack of support or connectivity between the R&D institutions academia and industry. Industry is left alone, and the other two sides are doing something, which is finally ending up with not creating adequate number of IPs which are relevant for our future. So I think both the questions we can answer, I think.
Actually, when we started in 2015, I have filed our first IP, and it took 7 years to get the IP. But now it's been 3 years. That's the fastest route. So there is a lot of effort. Central Ministry is also put into IP, and now you get your granted IP within 3 years timeline also. But initially it was very long. But personally, into the IP area, we have filed in our 7 years journey around 15 patents overall into different verticals, and recently only we increased our R&D budget substantially, and I feel this year itself probably 6-7 IPs we will be filing. And there are issues where we encountered in India also IP infringement. That's also came in. Last year we encountered few IP infringement into our domain. Some of them started to disrupt our business also. So that was a new knowledge for us. You know, we have IP. So if somebody stole your IP or steal your IP, how are you going to handle that situation? And again, I feel we are having one suit running against one of our IP, which is being taken by another company. And but the point is still it takes a lot of effort. You know, it's been 3-4 months. But still in a confusion, mediation. So I feel in US, if this was the case in US, there will be a lot of different situation. So I feel if people want to put IP effort, you know, normally everywhere the mentality is that, you know, the legal system will give you answer in a very long period of time. Because of that, nobody is actually giving a lot of, you know, attention to filing IP. So I personally feel the fast tracking of IP, and even if within the ecosystem, I'm not talking about Kerala, I'm talking about India, if there is an infringement happens between companies or something in any space, there should be forums which could able to study it in a very fast manner and resolve this kind of issues in a very, very fast manner. I think that being an ecosystem, Kerala government and KSPACE and many of the new upcoming IDEX, everybody can contribute into that, and if there is a fast tracking, something like that will be add a lot of value into solving the IP related problem. Because the biggest challenge what I find is that telling somebody about the technology and making him understand and how it is infringing, that itself take a tremendous amount of an effort if it is something in the deep tech, you know, area. So this is one of the major input I would say into it. If that is changed, I feel the level of people's effort goes into IP will change. And that's how I think in US and China, they have a most number of IPs because it's very much valuable there. On the basis of just IP, people can, you know, raise funds. You know, that is the situation. We have more than 15-16 IPs are there, but it's almost like a paper here. But if you have just an IP, you can raise fund on it. So that's a different case. So I think the ecosystem has to change. And the second question related to automation taking jobs. I think it is true. Because I cannot say that because already a lot of layoff has happened after ChatGPT. You know, people are introducing ChatGPT into the ecosystem. But I feel it's mostly momentary. Because how do I perceive this is because, you know, humans are getting more time to put their input into very valuable kind of an aspect. That's how it is shifted. So if the workforce is ready to deliver their value into the economy, we can always use this kind of AI and robotics and everything as an aid to improve that contribution. Rather than thinking like, you know, this will only affect the people who's not ready to relearn and learn something new, you know, or adapt to the new scenario. For them, it will be very difficult. But, you know, the way that even ChatGPT is also created, it makes a lot of company to build products in a very easy and faster manner. So even the complication of building a company, figuring out solutions, it's become easy. Now we can use this kind of a tools to, you know, incorporate it in a very good way that it can deliver a lot of value into our economy. So for this, what I would always think is that, there are centuries where we learn about Isaac Newton and those kind of people who delivered a lot of value into science, mathematics, and all that. But even with all this kind of a tools, we are not able to deliver that kind of a substantial input into the science, mathematics, and other kind of things yet. So I feel these inventions are underutilized, and if we properly utilize, it's delivered tremendous amount of value to the economy. So that's my take on it.
Yeah, I fully agree. I think even my case, we understood or became aware of this importance of IP towards my later phase of my career in ISRO. And now we are all putting a lot of effort in filing IP and following up. Definitely we have to do a lot. I think I agree with the procedural delays in happening and approval of the IP. 7 years brought out to 3 years. I think we have to target for maximum of 3 months. So that is what is required. Imprisonment is a major issue unless our legal system, the management is getting proper. I think we have to put in place appropriate mechanism to arrest this habit so that we'll start worshipping innovation and IP creation, which is a indirect way of generating wealth for the country. I think the automation and robotics, okay, we may feel at first it will be killing a lot of jobs. I think it is, again, Vimal has put it very bluntly clear. We are going to gain a lot with these emerging technologies, provided we equip our youngsters for the future. Having said that, I will go to Lloyd. Say, we have been talking about heavier and massive systems of satellites until very recently. And today we are hearing more of a smaller satellite and a satellite constellation. How this philosophy change is going to bring business for the new ventures, especially people like you?
That's a difficult question to answer now, but one very good example of how satellite technology is being used for everyday activity, the recent launch of, Starlink. So there are so many places, locations where, internet is still not available. Yeah. But with a small Starlink dish and multiple satellites that they have launched, now internet is available almost anywhere across the globe. So earlier, for Navy, it was a very difficult task to communicate to the base. And they used to rely on very few satellites that could, help connect. But now with technologies like this, with multiple satellites, around Earth, that communication connectivity is made possible and it's been made much simpler. So what's happening now, or earlier what we used to do was have a big satellite and, have some specific functionality to that. So then to replace that, it is again going to be very costly. So 1 kg of weight to take to space is going to cost a lot. So when we are talking about big satellites, it's going to be, in tons. So that's the kind of, investment required. while small satellites can do the same job as a team. Yeah? And that is where, it is giving a lot of advantage. And then if you lose, you're losing 1 or 2 satellites. And then you can easily replace because, it's not as costly as replacing a big satellite. So that is where, Starlink has deployed now around 3,000 satellites. That keeps, like the whole world connected. And similarly, OneWeb. OneWeb is taking a little different approach. So there are a lot of places where you don't have telephone connectivity or, now mobile signals which are not there or the infrastructure is not there. So now OneWeb is giving, connectivity to telecom operators to deploy, local network, and the connectivity is via satellite. So this was not possible, or it would have been extremely expensive to lay, fiber optic cables to, different parts. Even if we look at India, some of the areas it's very difficult to reach. So this is one area where, directly the impact is happening now. And another area where it is getting really important is for microclimatic weather predictions. So now we keep hearing, things happening. Like one simple example is, few months back, one of the, I think, Singapore airline flight fell into air gap, and unfortunately, one person who was not with seatbelt suffered major injury, and there was one fatality in that accident. So these kind of changes are now difficult to predict because of how fast it is happening. And for climate changes that's happening so fast, you need multiple satellites monitoring, different areas and getting more data to analyze or to predict, these kind of small changes happening across the globe. And with global warming and all the things that we are hearing now, we can use small satellites to look at specific areas or cluster of satellites to look at specific areas and predict things much faster. So that is another area where things are getting really interesting with the capabilities that small satellites are bringing. And then when you look at defense or national security, that's again a huge area where small satellites can play a lot of role. So you might have seen how, satellite-based technologies and digital technologies were helping in some of the recent conflicts, and how, technologically advanced, nations were able to take advantage because they have that capability. And fortunately, India has built a strong capability in that area. And recently, like Colonel Sanjeev said, there is a lot of initiative that the government is taking with the defense industry to bring these kind of capabilities with small satellites that can help our, defense to, monitor and serve the nation better. So this comes like monitoring our seas, communication satellites, again, weather satellites. Then there are different other technologies like SAR radar satellites that can see during night. So all these technologies now, using small satellites, there is a lot of capability that, the startups in India are building. So, yeah, these are the areas immediately where we can see satellite technology being used. And when you look at the time when internet came, everyone was asking, what will you do with it? Yeah. Now you can sit at home order, a meal from a restaurant that is 30 kilometers away, or you can buy rice from the store near you without going there. So look at how internet has changed things. And I'm sure there'll be more changes happening with the kind of capability the satellite or space-based technology can bring. Thank you.
I think there are a few questions from the audience. So we'll answer to the extent possible. I think first question.
First question came from Sindra Rajan. It's about pattern, 3 years and 7 years. It's very clumsy, the writing, so it's very difficult for me to read, but after introduction of AI, this is going to be further reduced. That is the probable question. I think it's reduced from 7 years to 3 years. And with the introduction of AI, this is, that's actually a great, point of thinking. I'm also thinking why they are not putting AI into our legal and as well as the other patent related matters yet. Maybe also they are already started using software, that's why they are able to reduce it from 7 years to 3 years. 3 years. So definitely I'm also looking forward to that. And this...
Yeah, definitely. I think we have to essentially see how our governance, the system is adopting the technology for improving the efficiency and speed at which the services are delivered. It is not only this particular issue. I think if you go around, you will see why the bureaucracy should take the same number of days which was being taken for the past so many years. With the latest of technology, I think every request can be answered or the order can be issued within seconds. That should be our target, right? I think everybody should adopt the newer technology. That only the answer for how soon we can get these services done.
Yeah, so another question from Mr. Rajesh. This is regarding AI is turning against human beings and will have AI will create a bad ending to human race. That's the question. And in fact, this is very difficult to answer, but also simple in certain ways. We have invented a lot of tools. Nuclear is a great example. It can even power thousands of cities. Also, it can destroy thousands of cities. So similarly, in terms of AI also, ultimately it's a great tool to take a lot of decisions and out from a complex data. So the way that we can use it for a lot of great stuffs like space exploration, one of the most difficult, and with the support of AI, it can simplify into very easy. Another area is to use AI into medical, genome therapy, DNA related research, a lot of complex area, even figuring out a lot of cures for the diseases that we are not able to figure out cures. So all that can be done with a tremendous amazing tool like an AI. And similarly, we can create and use these tools to give off all the treacherous works that we are doing in order to run our society, in order to create resources for a lot of people. And similarly, we can also use this like a weapon to break internet, the security protocols. AI can do that very easily, than any human being, and even create bioweapons. The same way we can create medicines, we can create bioweapons also. So it's up to us, human consciousness, to figure out the usage point. And yes, even with the research, like ChatGPT also, they have during their research also the way that AI went at certain point was not that much predictable to them also. Even right now also, in reinforced learning and other kind of methodology, still it's a very black box. What happens in the neural network, nobody knows. We just drive it to a certain level where we are able to get an output out of it, and we make the output reliable through different type of mathematical and other kind of a model. So if we let it go in its own way, it will create a lot of issues. But again, this awareness is there now with government bodies and the people who is handling AI, and there is a lot of regulations being put forward to handle this kind of a situation. So that is also happening. So even I feel now the way that people spam you know, that is also changed. The communication which comes to you exactly feel like the person who stands, opposite, or who, the person you know. From their data, they are able to create the patterns like it's exactly, respond the way that the people that you know, or it will mimic that you are actually chatting in the same way, or calling, or even in the video call, it can be created. So it's up to people. People are using in bad ways and also good ways. But I think we will also do similar way how we figure out the other weaponaries and tools which humans are currently using. We'll use it for the greater good. So that's what I believe and that's what I hope for.
Yeah, this question is from Suresh Kumar. Can we have a satellite assembly unit in Trivandrum, private sector? So we have already started assembling satellites in Trivandrum, in Technopark. So we don't manufacture a lot of things there. Manufacturing is supported by, small companies here around ISRO ecosystem. So we use their facility, or we work with them to, build boards or, structure, testing, all these things we work with them. And testing and assembly, we are doing it in our facility in Technopark. We already have a small lab there, and now we are building a bigger lab. Space in Technopark is challenging, especially in the nice buildings. So we are lucky we got one more space next to the current office we have, and we have started satellite assembly there.
Yeah, I think.
Yes, so I've got a question which says that how is Technopark fostering a culture of innovation, and what future initiatives are planned to accelerate the growth, keeping in mind sustainability? So this is from Dr. Swapna. So yeah, so as far as Technopark is concerned, as I mentioned earlier also, it's in today's state, it is like an ecosystem enabler. So we do a lot of collaborations these days. So we interact with companies, the startups, and we have got entities like ICT Academy of Kerala. When you look from the talent pool, ICT Academy of Kerala, DUK, and then you have got entities like Space Park. So we work together. So collaboration is the key. So if you want to do something different. And as far as the companies are concerned inside Technopark, I think there is a lot of focus on innovations per se. And I think that starts from the culture of the organization itself, the way they look at things. Because, we have to understand the generational gap also. I always say that, okay, when we look at the current generation, Gen Z or Gen Alpha, which is going to come up, so we have to have a lot of faith in them. I can talk with a lot of conviction because I am Gen X and my son is a Gen Z. So we should understand their perspective also, because these are the people who are going to come up in the organizations, and they are actually digital natives, and they can actually do wonders if we create a purpose in the organization. So just imagine a Gen Z who would have lost his 2 years of school life, 11th or 12th, or similarly, he would have lost his 2 years of graduation. So if we remember our, school days or college days, we remember those days, right? They have lost those two to three, vital years of their life. And then we say that, okay, the moment you come into the organization, you have to be industry ready. So that's something like, a big question asked to them. So we have to accept them in that way, and possibly if we give them a purpose the moment they come into the organization and have those cross-functional interactions, they are going to become innovative. And that's all I can say about, that's how the culture has to be brought into the organization. So that's all as far as, this question is to be answered, and I think that's my take on it.
Yeah, I think the last question, I think Mr. Arun K. from ISRO has targeted me. Can I see him? Arun? Okay, thank you. I think we all have to understand the entire space activity in ISRO started right here. Way back in 1963, November 21st, we had the first rocket launch from Indian soil from Tumba. And it was a borrowed rocket from US with a launcher borrowed from France and the computer system from Russia. From that, we have grown a lot. And the initial the fabrication requirements were taken care by the local workshops in and around Trivandrum. Over the years, ISRO has come up with bigger projects, the SLV, ASLV, PSLV, GSLV, Mark III, like that. The institution has developed with a higher demand. Unfortunately, there was no ecosystem getting developed in and around Trivandrum or within Kerala. And we all assumed that 10,000-15,000 staff of ISRO are working here and they are having a very happy life within Kerala. And they are doing something inside the campus and they are showing something in the TV. So that was the attitude. And that was the reason we have not picked up the opportunity on time. Now, government has at least understood the opportunity and put up this initiative of Kerala Space Park. When I took up that opportunity, I was just trying to gather what I can do, because all the resources are only on paper, is yet to come, and things are getting slowly moving. We are building, and that also thanks to Colonel Sanjeev for donating me the most wanted resource, the land.
Okay. Sorry to interrupt you, sir. Her Royal Highness the Princess has been waiting.
Okay, over. I think you should understand there are 150 small and medium industries in the aerospace segment operating within Kerala. And 62 of them are now networked to the Kerala Space Park ecosystem. And we are on the job of bringing in new enterprises to the ecosystem like S20. And when they took up the space, Lloyd was having the complaint, we are not having enough vendors here. I told these are the people who can support, and that's why he is surveying here. So our attitude is changing and we can target for a better future. Thank you.
Thank you, dear panelists, for the thought-provoking session on innovation, success and growth. Let us take a moment to thank the brilliant minds who illuminated our discussion. May I request Mr. Chandrasekhar RB, Divisional Manager of Canara Bank, to hand over the memento as a token of gratitude to Mr. G. Levin. Manager Silverstone to kindly hand over the memento to Lloyd Jacob. May I request Wing Commander Ragashri Nair to kindly hand over the memento to